What is up?
What up?
So we're done with The Last Dance.
Hell of a doc.
Thoughts? What do you think? Your instant thoughts on 9 and 10?
Um, it was a perfect ending, honestly. It made me vaguely actually remember the '98 finals. I vaguely, like, as a 5-year-old boy,
Weren't you
or
10 or
I was,
something?
I was 34
You're 30.
when the '98 finals happened. So I remember it pretty clearly.
Yeah. You were at a bar watching it.
Yeah, I was. It was with a bunch of older gentlemen. We were all watching the game together, kind of like an entourage of sorts.
Real quick sidebar. Jordan's entourage.
Fucking just is it just made of dudes who can't really protect him?
Yeah.
Like if push came to shove, it would just be a bunch of old guys getting in the way of a bullet, like between Michael and they would literally throw themselves in front of Michael. I think that's what he wanted the most. I think the lifer, the the guy who can tell the story. Like I took a bullet for Mike, you know. Like not the guy who's gonna run away. Like when Mike's getting robbed, like 2 Chainz is fucking
I don't know
bodyguard
if
to
they said
Takashi
it
or
in the
something.
doc or heard it from some other video or something, but the curly haired guy was his like caretaker, like the groundskeeper for his one of his mansions in Chicago.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, the guy looks like the human version of a sheep. He looks like almost between the two evolutions of sheep and man, and he just kind of got caught,
He's the Rachel.
somewhere along. Yeah, he's like a. Have you ever seen the books, the Animorphs, where they just kind of morph into
Yeah,
like a?
yeah, and
He's
like in the middle of the
down
animal.
the middle. Yeah, he's more on the side of a human, but I mean, he's
That might be neither.
he's turning into a sheep.
um, but yeah, I thought it ended fantastic. Apparently, they were still editing it. So when they announced it, what was it? Late March, they announced that we were going to see the docs.
Yeah.
Mid-April. They hadn't finished it, and apparently they just hadn't put together 10 yet. And I thought it came out pretty great.
Yeah, no, yeah, it came out good. It felt a bit rushed, but I mean, it was the 10th fucking episode of a 10 episode documentary. Like, if they got to speed it up, they got to speed it up. It was like there was nothing really else they had to cover. It was literally like, well, it was so dramatic that last '98 final game. Whether he pushed off or not, or just how close that series was. Like if that push never had happened, or that shot by Mike, he misses it. This is going to 7. Series could change there. Like we all know, me and you specifically as Warrior fans know how quickly a series can change.
Scotty was
And
toast.
Scotty, yeah, I think there was at least one point in every episode Scotty pissed me off. But
What do you mean?
I, he's just basically he played like I don't even want to say he played like a villainous role, but almost like an antagonistic version of this like sidekick or something. I can't even explain it. It's hard to say. It just felt like he was constantly the guy who was going to be like, whether the Bulls decide they're going to be like great or not. It's always up to Scotty, almost like whether they're going to be more, or the clutch decision. Like I guess it was like a couple episodes back, but he straight up gave up on the team. Like in an Eastern Conference final, or like he dealt with being the second fiddle as well as anyone could, I guess. But at times he wanted to like be more. You could always see Scotty would be more, and Scotty can be more.
Yeah.
But would Scotty have 6 if he wasn't with Mike?
No.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah.
You put him anywhere else, he's not even getting 2.
Yeah.
The league was so dicey back then. You had super teams everywhere, and it was still the Bulls running towns. I mean, just the guys that were in the league at the time. I mean, Stockton and Malone were I'm saying super duos maybe.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Stockton and Malone.
It was the era of duos.
Yeah.
Kind of where it is now. We're watching that Portland. I forgot, it was that episode 5-ish where we watched the Portland series, and Michael does the no disrespect.
Yeah, the shrug.
Classic. No, no, not the shrug, but he's like, no, no disrespect. I just thought that guy wasn't on my level.
Uh,
I thought they should
yeah,
stop the no Vaseline right there, like that
yeah.
no Vaseline montage.
It's kind of weird how they kind of just
6
breezed
points.
over that series. The Portland. Well, it wasn't really a matchup for them. They easily handled Portland like every game. That might have been 4-1, 4-0. I don't know.
It was a beating.
It was a beatdown. It didn't seem like any team ever took the Bulls to 7. Only Indiana in '98 must have been the only team. Maybe New York a couple times in the playoffs. But like, who's taking the Bulls to 7? I'm like, did they ever face elimination? Oh, I guess early as fuck when like they played the Pistons. But later on, when they really had their
Oh yeah.
feet cemented in it, like were they getting out of every every round in about 6 games? Were they doing the whole warrior walk? You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? Just
Once they got
sweeping everybody, bringing their brooms along. I don't know, man.
and so yeah, going back to 9 and 10, I think a couple of things stood out. Phil, how he handled the 98, 97, 98 season,
Oh
just
man.
masterfully.
I mean,
All those
he
teams, how he
he
handled
set
that.
everybody's yeah. He set everybody straight. He figured out like everybody's strengths and weaknesses, and everyone trusted Phil. Hell, I trusted Phil after that. I don't even know what he's about, but like he is just a leader of men, truly. Like he's like the big chief. The guy who you want to go to for like
Yeah, he
advice.
leaned into
You
that
know.
Native American vibe.
Oh, he really did. He was super into it. So
Little
he
suspect.
he would love to hear me say that.
Yeah, yeah. He's just the white guy that maybe.
Needs to be recognized by other white guys how culturally Native American he can be.
I only gravitated towards. Uh, what did he say? Like when they're playing Cowboys.
Oh, Cowboys and Indians.
I was
Oh,
always
I would just constantly just shout and scream noises like a crazy Indian.
my mom.
I always had my shirt off.
I love red paint.
Sometimes it wasn't paint.
It was chicken blood. Chicken blood. What was that whole bit in Puerto Rico? That was the most casual, like crazy thing
What?
I've heard in a documentary.
Oh, the whole acid trip one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of just like like here's a little bit of Phil for you. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to know how he coaches, you should kind of know a little bit about his personal. Like, no, you shouldn't, because that was like that was kind of like an introduction to just how cool he was, and like
I liked it. I was like,
it made sense. It made sense that he was always talking about like Zen and all that kind of stuff. So,
you gotta be pretty zen.
dude, I wish Phil was my fucking coach. In any platform of basketball, in any type of basketball I ever played, CYO, he would have been great.
I would say Phil was the biggest surprise of the whole documentary. I was not a Phil Jackson guy. I always thought he was kind of talking out of both sides of his neck, but you could kind of see what he was dealing with, and
Yeah,
just having the background of the 98 season and how he handled that and how he handled 94 and 95, it just really stood out and
yeah,
how he balanced that. And there was these moments where it could go any way, and the margin for error was nothing, and
dude.
and he made it work. He didn't call that timeout. 98, yeah, 98, before the shot, and it's just things like that really stood out. And how he handled the personalities, how he handled Scotty for.
Yeah, that's the craziest. It's just like he wasn't really with Scotty's bullshit at all. You know, like I love Phil for that. He just gave Scotty the chance to be a champ, you know, and be a part of this whole thing. But
I just think
Scotty, I don't know, in
right.
his head, Scotty was always thinking about other things. You know, he was always felt undervalued, and that sucks because he was such a crucial part
Yeah.
of everything that happened in Chicago. He's literally one of the only, but he's one of the only two numbers that are retired for fucking Chicago. Like, he could have paid the man a little more. But I mean, in fairness, he took an early deal to help his family out, which seemed like the right idea at the time. He didn't even begin to understand that he could just ring chase like that, just completely just eat rings in the 90s. No one thought they could. I mean, especially after how they dealt with the Pistons. You know, I mean, they did look like they were going to, like, Jordan looked like he was going to be, or like at that point he already was the man. But I mean, to predict you win 6 out of 8, you know, like it's
I still think
6 out of the next 8 years you win championships. That's unheard of. You know, you couldn't call it. And yeah, of course, after the first 3, you'd be like, yeah, I want my money. But it's like, Scotty, finish your contract out, and then
the problem was
maybe
years.
yeah. But
8-year, 7-year contract.
But and then at the end, at the end, Reisdorf even said he was just like, there was no way we were going to be able to keep them all. They were just all going to be super high value in the market, you know. So
yeah, I mean, well, Reinsdorf is, his argument at the end was just like, you keep it together. I mean, there's really no excuse on his end.
1-year deals for the next couple of years. I mean, they all would have hopped on, but I mean, a lot of it
probably coming back. I know Jordan.
Yeah, you hear Michael saying that he won't play without Phil, and you hear Phil saying that he's probably not going to. You know, he needs to. You know, Phil was more adamant about his time ending than, you know, Rodman needing his time. You know, like, you know, Phil never really like jerked him one way or another. He was kind of like, you know, this is it, and that's why, like, what he did at the end with that spiritual, like, they write something and they put it in a coffee can and burn it.
I love that.
Classic Phil Jackson.
And that was like dramatization in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Everything was like real footage and interviews, and then they just have like this backlot just and burning. It actually worked. Because I hate that in documentaries when you have like they would have a fake. They wouldn't show Dennis Rodman going out.
Yeah.
To Vegas, they would just show like a fake Dennis Rodman.
Oh my god, that's like some fucking. That's like some unsolved mystery shit right there.
So I'm glad that they saved it to the end and they didn't really fuck with that the whole time.
Yeah. So basically, you hate reenactments.
I hate it. It's, you know, the true crime.
Yeah, unsolved mysteries, dude.
Yeah. Even really good documentaries.
Mary Waters was walking down her street one night until she was approached by a man in a hood. She was never seen again. And it's just like the guy with it. Like, it's never gonna be the actual guy. I wish it was. That'd be good. That'd be good FaceTime for.
You know where it became just a big problem is like
young criminal.
1,000 Ways to Die. Remember that show?
1,000 Ways to Die. Oh my god.
Some
of those were they weren't real ways to die.
No, they weren't. Just seeing those dramatizations of just fucking ridiculousness.
God. I remember one of them. I'll always remember this one. One guy died from fucking too much, fucking too hard at one point. How do you die fucking? I guess you die happy. Yeah, it's a peaceful way to go. But like, is that really one of 1,000 ways to die? Am I really like gonna be concerned when I'm fucking someone and I'm just like, oh my god, oh, this organ, I'm going to death? No, dude, it's not gonna happen like that, dude. And some guys get their penises chopped off from like 40 miles away, and like that's a fucking 1,000 ways to die. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah,
these are improbable as fuck. And you got to be in the wrong place at the wrong time for a lot of these Spike TV fucking. I don't know who's writing this shit. These Spike TV guys are fucking just amped right now.
I feel like just random MMA fighters. Man, Spike Real.
Amateur MMA fighters.
It was just Chuck Liddell. Just if I what is
Okay, so you're slamming Bruce with Tito Ortiz, and you guys go fall off a cliff. You break your leg, get eaten by an eagle.
a
Thousand
gun?
ways to die.
If you tape a tricycle to your legs. um, but yeah, going back to 9 and 10. What it was weird. So I didn't really get emotional the whole time watching this documentary. But the Steve Kerr thing, which is something that I knew, but I never heard him. I read about him talking like in an article about his dad's death, but him explaining it and seeing him choke up and having his mom talk, it was one of the few moments where I was getting a little choked up.
Yeah, no, I was right there with you because that's my coach, you know.
That's coach.
I don't like to see him in pain like that, dude. I'd rather him not speak on that. But like, it was so like, it's so crazy because that's like a weird connection that like Michael and
Never
Steve Kirk and they shouldn't. What the fuck? How do you even start that? Like, hey, heard how your dad died. Did you hear how my dad? That's like, how do you even go about that? You know,
I know, but
other than condolences.
What's great about that is, so that conversation he said didn't happen and it would never happen, but him acknowledging it, it just made me think like, is that why Jordan? Is that why he punches him? Is that why? Just because I don't know. There was like this really interesting connection with him and Jordan.
Could have been.
And they're connected by this thing that they never talked about.
Yeah,
I thought that was really interesting. And Steve is just a really good interview. So I think
he is.
and
you really want to get inside that team, especially on the last three, the later stages of that dynasty.
Yeah.
He talked to Steve fucking Kerr.
Yeah.
Because he remembers that shit like yesterday. You know, I feel like he can recall any day that happened, and how just describe his fucking day. Hey, Steve, what happened fucking June 22nd, 1992? It's like, so I woke up, I ate a bagel, I went to practice, and I practiced. You know, he would just go through his entire day. Oh, I went to the supermarket, I bought an apple. The apple was red. I remember it was Jazz apple. And it was funny because we weren't even playing Utah. You know, he would make like some stupid. Oh man.
But yeah, he always looks like he could like, if you say one wrong thing, he could just punch the interviewer. Like.
I mean, he got punched by Michael Jordan. He can punch anyone he wants, dude. That gives him the right, dude. You get punched by the GOAT, you can go ahead and deliver one, you know, on behalf of him.
One of the weird things watching this is that all we know, you said that you have a vague memory of the 98 season.
Vague, very vague. It's crazy because like I just remember like Utah, really. It's hard. It's crazy. Like I remember because I was in Montana and like my family up there, their favorite team is Utah Jazz. So when we were up there, you know who they were rooting for, you know, like they were going crazy, dude. Especially that was their second year in the finals. Like everyone thought the Jazz were the next big thing. And like they love the Jazz. They were like that Midwest team, you know, that team that every like Midwest state can get behind. So I just remember those games and like watching them in my uncle's like man cave lair. And those games were intense, dude. I vaguely remember them, dude. It's crazy because like when I was watching those little clips today in 9 and 10, it just brought them back, man. Like a lot of the shots that Stockton made, I was like, oh my god, dude. These are just bringing back some freaking crazy. Because like, you remember Stockton for his passing, but like I always thought Stockton was just a great scorer.
Yeah.
Jesus, he can make it from fucking anywhere, dude.
Yeah, he had three. He was three levels.
Yeah, he's all three, dude. And he was just like his passing just opened it up for them all, dude.
Yeah, him and Nash should have scored so much more, but they were too unselfish, and then they both ended without a championship because of it.
I don't. Was it because of it? I
I
don't think. I don't think it would have changed anything if
I
they would
think
have
they had good teams.
scored a little bit more. Like they had players that can score on their team,
That's I
both of them
they
respectively.
got championship level teams, but I think they needed to score a little bit more.
Well,
That's
that I mean, Steve
good.
Nash's Suns team was
Definitely.
deadly. I remember being an avid Mavericks fan back in the day, rooting on Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Terry and fucking
Steve Nash is an ex-Patriot.
Josh Howard, huh?
He's an ex-Mav.
Yeah, Jason Terry, dude. I remember they
Mm,
traded for
Steve
Jason
Nash.
Terry. Oh, Steve Nash. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
So,
everybody knows, yeah. But wait, when he blew up, he was a Phoenix Sun, and he was just a problem for everyone in the West. He gave the Lakers problems constantly, Suns, or I mean Spurs. He gave the Mavs problems all day. It was any team. They were the best in the West for a little bit, you
mm,
know. Like they had runs where they were better than LA. They were better than San Antonio.
yeah.
But yeah, they played against the Mavs. I remember in the playoffs one year, and that was one of the scariest series I've ever been a part of, dude. Similar to the Mavericks and Portland Trailblazers series, but it was just like every time I watched Suns Mavs, I was just like, I can't take this. I can't take this. They're too fucking good. You know, it's just Steve Nash. He's breaking down the defense everywhere, and then he just to Amari Stoudemire or fucking Sean Marion flies out of nowhere. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. Quentin Richardson. I fucking hate Quentin Richardson, dude. He's so good. He's a good shooter, but oh my god, dude, he's a son of a bitch. Rajah Bell. I hated that whole team, dude, but they were just fucking
Russ
good.
Bell had just a hittable face.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ask Kobe.
Him, Richard Jefferson.
R.I.P.
Who?
Kobe, because I said ask Kobe.
Oh,
Because he was always like he was a Kobe stopper,
yeah.
and he never really did, but he would always try to fight Kobe Bryant. I remember that. Like,
He got the Dellavedova treatment. That just
he did.
sucks. They're both Roger Bell, Dellavedova trying to do their job, and they just get
Yeah,
this name that they're not.
yeah. I mean,
Fuck.
yeah, it's screwed up, but that's what happens when you guard the better players in the NBA. You know,
It's
you
true.
get matched up as like their adversary or the guy that tried to stop them. You know, or something like that. I was just
Hey,
like, dude,
that's
I was no
so.
one else is trying to switch with me. Like I'm not trying to like Deladova's not. I'm not trying to switch Tristan Thompson so he can look like a fucking goofy giraffe. You know, Steph's putting him on fucking ice skates. You know, let Dellavedova fucking handle it, dude. I mean, and that was the same thing with Kobe. You know, no one wanted to guard Kobe. You don't want Nash on Kobe. Maybe Sean Marion, but even Sean Marion was getting freaking
Yeah,
worked. You know, Kobe was a
here's that one.
fucking monster back then.
Doesn't matter.
Just a villain. West Coast mean one, dude. Just Lakers, dude. I mean, if you like the Lakers, you like the Lakers. But as a Mavericks fan, Warriors fan, I was never like big on the Lakers. You know,
Yeah,
it's just like it was just another team you had to go through.
they were the enemy.
Yeah.
Um, so going through the episodes, what was your favorite? What was the one that stood out to you? I have a couple that really stood out. One especially.
I really enjoyed 9. I'm not saying it like took that long to enjoy. Like the whole thing was good.
Yeah,
I think some
that's
of the early episodes,
that's
maybe
the
like
whole thing was
maybe
good.
like 2 and 3 were really good. But
Three
9 stood out
was my
because
favorite. If I'm just gonna say it off top, the Rodman episode. That was the most. I think it's because the Rodman documentary, what, like 5 years ago or something.
yeah,
It just I had seen most of that stuff, and it
yeah,
just
it was a part of the documentary that forced us to try to understand Dennis Rodman.
yeah,
And it's like you can understand him by the way he dyes his fucking hair. You
yeah.
know, that's pretty much
That's
it.
what
You
it is.
know, you know what the guy brings to the table here. Like you don't need to know that he goes off to Vegas and he parties. Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah,
Look at his head. You know, that was something they really didn't need to add in there, but it did make for a controversial time because Dennis Rodman was just such a freaking bozo back then, dude. He's just just doing this shit he doesn't even know he's making news. It's just him being him,
Yeah.
which is like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Don't be such a goddamn idiot all the time. You have practice at 7 a.m.
Michael was really easy on him, it seemed like.
Super, dude. Michael fucking didn't give a fuck what this guy did, but if it was Scott Burrell doing this shit, oh man, Scott Burrell would be dead in a ditch somewhere.
What? It was like Scott Burrell was like a fly that was just annoying Michael.
I saw this meme on Twitter. It was Jordan when he has the headphones. Scott Burrell breathes.
So good.
Jordan, fucking great, dude.
That is. Who is Kenny Lattimore?
Who is Kenny Lattimore?
He's like, oh, I got this new Kenny Lattimore.
Oh yeah. What was that?
I listened to it last night. Trash.
He's like, you don't got it. Yeah, who the fuck is Kenny Lattimore? Is he a white guy?
He's like a slow jams dude.
Okay.
It's not good. Michael.
That was a weird plug for Mike, dude.
You could have known with that Space Jam soundtrack.
Kenny Lattimore's like sitting in his apartment somewhere in fucking Philadelphia or something. He's like, hey, Mike. Completely out of royalties.
It was such a non-flex.
That was fun. But no, nine was easily one of my, because I enjoyed the series with the Pacers. It was that team. It was just like I hate the Bulls are kind of
those players on the team.
Yeah. Oh, on the Pacers.
Yeah, I can't stand Reggie Miller. Just bugs me.
Dude, Reggie was such a dork, dude. He's just such a little pencil dick. Just a fucking.
I guarantee you he was called that.
Oh, for sure, dude. I bet as soon as he pushed off Mike goes, pencil dick motherfucker, get back here.
I feel like Cheryl would just call him pencil dick and just how many nuggies you do that?
She would call him pencil dick and then proceed to dunk on his ass, dude.
It's so odd to be top 60 player of all time and your sister's better than you. It's as unique as it gets.
Yeah.
It's never happened before.
I think it's to this day, Reggie's never beat Cheryl in a game of one-on-one or course or any type of competition that involves a basketball.
I love
never bested Cheryl.
So you said 9. I loved episode 4. That was we get the introduction of Phil, the Puerto Rican days where they're cutting chickens on benches.
That was a great episode.
Jerry is the one that hires him. They start showing him and Tex Winter becoming really close, and then he supplants Doug Collins, and Doug Collins knew. And then we get the Jordan getting past. And I think we got the Pistons in episode 3 in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then we got to see that rise to him being the Pistons. That was awesome.
That was great, dude. It was a hell of a mountain that they overcame in that one, and it was pretty petty by the Pistons to go out like that, but like that's Detroit, baby.
That's one of those things you ask me. Whatever, it's different in any mood. And some, I don't really think it matters.
I bet if you asked all the players back then, they would all just say Isaiah Thomas was an asshole. Yeah. They probably all would, like even probably some of his teammates would be like, well, yeah, he didn't never even high-five me.
He was a little Tony Ferguson-esque in the documentary where he's getting punched in the face and he just still kept taking questions and still got more screen time. I mean, he just got eviscerated. I mean, he was second to Jerry Krause. It was him and Jerry Krause that just got roasted in the stock.
Yeah, they looked the worst. They looked the worst. I'd feel more bad for Jerry Krause if I didn't think he was like one of the main reasons this whole documentary is kind of like
what happened,
a thing. But I'm not going to give him too much credit because he could have actually kept it going a little more.
Before we get into Jerry Krause, one last thing on episode 4. That was the episode where the first one I can remember where Jordan looks at the iPad, and it's the first meme of him looking at Isaiah's face, and he's like, "Oh man, I know he's fucking lying." I mean, you showed it to me, but fucking lying.
Yeah.
And that kind of stood out because that was one of the first moments where I was like, "Holy shit, I'd never seen that."
Yeah, dude. What about when he laughs at fucking Gary Payton?
The glove, iconic.
It's so funny. That was one of my more favorite episodes too. When they dived into the whole Sonic series. I think that was '96. That sucks because that was such a good Sonics team, and it was that was the best Bulls team I think going in. So like
wins, yeah.
It sucks, man. That was a fun ass team to watch. It's a fun team to play in 2K. I love playing with Gary Payton. Sean Kemp is a fucking monster.
Yeah, Sean Kemp is on everyone's list of most underrated, should have had better career.
Yeah. Well, his career kind of spun out of control after Seattle. I mean, he got a deal in Cleveland, and then after that, I think he gained hella weight.
I mean, hella. I think he was a 300.
He
was a 300-pound guy.
He was huge, dude. He could have had a little show on his ass about where the fuck has he been? But yeah, Kemp that was a weird one because you never thought like a guy like of his physique, would end up just being a fucking flabby mess at some point, dude. By the time he gets to Orlando, he's just like a glob.
Lob to the glob.
Yeah, the glove and the glob, dude.
Sounds like an Adult Swim show. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things in the documentary that I'd never seen. The iPad, and just Jordan's so unique in the sense that he's such a public figure, but we don't know much about him, and that he's such a legend. And then just to see that, I mean, that access of a person like that, we've never seen that before.
Yeah, I agree with you because I've honestly, as a person who grew up watching the NBA in the 2000s, yeah, I didn't really know much about Jordan at all, other than that he was supposed to be the greatest of all time. But like during my time watching NBA, it was always Kobe for me.
Yeah, Kobe was.
But this opened up a lot of things for me about what I didn't know about this team. Just the fact that what they had to go through. I mean, I knew bits and pieces. I knew their story, but internally, like Rodman, like missing time like that, or Scotty just being a cunt, episode in and episode out.
Interesting because it's the juiciest and everyone wants to talk about it, but it seemed to have the least. I mean, besides the most problematic was during the finals, but I mean, he would do these things and he'd just be back at practice.
Fine. Yeah, like nothing happened, dude.
And then Jordan would just be fine with it. It's just so weird how they treated him, but it worked. I mean, you can't deny the result.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my runner-up was I really liked episode 7, the Scotty fuck up. Jordan playing baseball. I mean, did you know that people just thought he could have been pro in a couple of years? That seems like horseshit.
I mean, yeah, that's tough because at some point they were just giving him fastballs, I think, and then they started giving him like off-speed pitches and
other 12 pitches in baseball.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not crazy to think that like if he tried to dedicate a few years of his time, he will end up in the bigs. That's not crazy to think, dude. The guy was a physical specimen, and literally he's a gamer. Like literally he's a savant of sorts. He's a basketball savant. He's almost a sports savant.
Yeah.
You know, he tries to be the best at everything he does. That's why he's so goddamn competitive at golf. And he's always talking shit on other people's golf game.
He's so terrible at golf.
But he's always the worst. But that's why. That's why he loves it, and that's why he talks, you know, the most shit in it, because he knows he's not the best in it, dude. He knows he can get served in a round of 18. But I don't know, dude. I mean,
Do
I
you
kind of lost
see,
my train of thought.
wait, do you see like the culture was grabbed by this, and it had an astonishing amount of viewers for something on during quarantine. We're thirsty for sports. Do you think that the NBA, when it comes back, is going to be impacted? And will this change the regular season? Obviously, quarantine is a big variable in this, but can you see players, not that they're not trying, but I mean, no one cares about the regular season and caring about, when we can be in a stadium, that this is such a big event for a fan. And that was one of the things. Being a fan, I was like, holy shit, someone cares
Yeah.
about, the product. Do you see NBA players focused on that? And we have Steph Curry, who's the ultimate performer present day.
Yeah.
So we're kind of spoiled in that sense. But what do you think?
Could you run that back one more time?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, do you think after watching these 10 hours, the Jordan influence, the last danceification, will see
Oh,
the NBA and we'll kind of see more passion throughout the regular season?
I hope so. I hope so, because I really did think they were losing a bit of passion, especially like with the league being so young. You know, like Jordan came into a league that was very mature. Like anyone who's coming into the league past 2008 is coming into a young ass league, you know?
Look, yeah,
So,
LeBron is starting to be the best player, and he's 26.
yeah, exactly. Like, and the fact that he's played 17 years of basketball and he's still in it. And it doesn't look like he's going to go away for like at least 2 or 3 more years. You know, like it's just like the game now stands the test of time. You know, as far as how long a player's career can last. I mean, back in the '90s, dude, playing against men everywhere, you know, and they're all pretty fucking old.
Yeah.
So they all have that same mentality, you know. It's that win or go home mentality. Sometimes, you know, I think the new age they're about the bag, you know. They're trying to get the money, you know.
So
They're they're
that's who we're
they
talking. That's who I'm
yeah
asking. Is that the there's the LeBron is in his own generation, pretty much. Dwayne Wade, Bosh. I mean, Melo is now a reserve player, and then you have the Durant, Curry, Westbrook, George era.
yeah
And then you got the Tatum, young guy era. It seems like the Kawhi, KD, Paul George, that era is about more getting the bag. Let's actually exclude Durant, because I think Durant's one of the ones that is, when he's out on the court, he's fucking going.
balling.
He's
Hmm.
balling, and he shows up, and he's really one of the best players we've ever had. But to the Kawhi, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook, what do you think? Do you think there's a sense of urgency?
There should be, especially with Houston right now. I mean, they have literally 2 MVPs on their team. So if there's any motivation for them to look at each other and be like, we could actually maybe do something, you know, like they need to get it done. They need to realize that, like, you know, they got to get over their selfish ways. I really still think, you know, I mean, Russell Westbrook demands his shots. Harden takes the fucking ball down the court. You know, like this
We
offense,
saw
you
earlier.
know, it's run with whoever can do something in 24 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, between Russell and James at least.
So yeah,
But
you see that being possible.
I think, yeah, I think it might. Hopefully it does. I can't speak. I don't know James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and if I did, I'd probably fucking say no. It wouldn't help because they'd probably be fucking retard ass. Or I'm sorry, they'd probably be a couple of sea suckers, dude. But I mean, if they're anything passionate about basketball, they'll tighten it up right now, and they'll make the Rockets a better team than actually just like looking at them on paper.
Yeah.
You know, because on paper they're tough as nails. Well, they can get beat by the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
So let's think about it.
We'll see. I mean,
yeah, maybe it'll incentivize Devin Booker and the Suns to rise up, or
that's
John Morant. Maybe John Morant will see it, and you know maybe the Grizzlies will have that grit. You know, Memphis always, you know, they always like intertwine their team with the word grit.
Grit and grind.
You know,
what are they
so,
now?
Grit. I think Grit is probably their mascot name. It's probably a Grizzly named Grit. And if it's not, I'm going to pitch that to the Memphis Grizzlies to make that happen.
It's actually a bowl of cheese grits.
with a pair of sunglasses on, dude.
Just like, no, but it's kind of like, huh? You know, the Home Improvement. Huh? So yeah, that's what I'm curious about, because we're as we've talked about before, the NBA season is going to happen. It's going to happen here soon. And I'm curious what the Last Dance means to that realm.
I think it's pretty important because most of these guys grew up watching Jordan, or at least I mean the Kawhi Steph era. I mean, Steph was literally like there.
Yes.
For his later years, I guess,
But I don't think Devin Booker downed. You know, they've watched Jordan, and I think I'm curious.
Oh yeah, no. If you ask them, they're Kobe guys. You know, they're all Kobe guys. But it's just like, what the fuck is the difference between a Kobe guy and a Jordan guy? The jersey? Because they're like Kobe and Jordan stood for the same fucking things.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and so they're like, whoa,
win at all costs. You know.
So I think it's easily transferable.
Yeah. It should, but and Kobe was never known for like. Well, I think he did try to test the Lakers one time with a contract extension. 1 year.
Yeah, he almost went to the Pistons.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah.
But like for the most part, he's never been super vocal. I mean, every dollar that Kobe has, he's earned, for sure. But
that's not a question.
Absolutely. But I mean, at the same time, he's never been like a bag chaser. He's always been worth the money, and like that's what some players in the NBA just don't understand. You got to be worth that fucking money, dude. Like, you want Kobe money? Go put up some fucking Kobe numbers. Go get some Kobe rings. You know, how about 3 on you, and then let's talk about an extension somewhere, or like go test your water somewhere. Like,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because of how the last couple of years post Warriors have been. I mean, I've always been pro player, obviously, but there has been this now culture of just, it got a little out of hand. And so I'm curious if this would be a variable that could change that. And, you know, quarantine's the biggest one right now. I mean, you know, until we get fans in the arena, it's going to be, we won't know the answer, but it's just crazy to think about where we are. And, you know, maybe this was a good reset for how the league was going, because it was trending this year.
I think that's a great way to put it, a reset, because that's absolutely what the NBA needed. Because I'll tell you, this is the first year I felt like I just didn't watch NBA basketball. And part of it was because the Warriors were terrible.
Yeah.
But a large part of it was that, you know, like the Lakers are back on top because of the money again. You know, like here, like all the teams feel pretty even between each other. You know, like
I don't like the fits of the teams right now.
No, a lot of the fits of the teams are weird. It feels like there's a lot of like scrappy teams out there put together by drafts and maybe a couple G League players and stuff like that. But like, there needs to be a guy that can like carry a team and pop a little bit more. Like, I know you think Jason Tatum's a star, but they got studs all over that Celtics team that literally anyone could come out of that thing looking like a stud. But like, like John Morant or like Devin Booker, they need to be like that new age highlight reel player that I think the league desperately needs right now. Because
And
you
John
talk about
on it this year. I thought he was
we talk about the best players in the NBA, Kawhi and fucking Braun and shit like that. Those guys aren't fucking like highlight reel guys anymore. I mean, LeBron could literally dunk in your face still,
yeah.
but I mean, they're not doing these highlights that got all the cameras flashing. I mean,
maybe in the playoffs if there is. I mean, like Kawhi last.
Oh yeah, Kawhi had a few memorable moments last year in the playoffs, but Kawhi's also been forgotten in some playoffs, especially in San Antonio. I think the first season the Warriors went for the title.
Oh yeah.
I think we played the Spurs, and I think Zaza Pachulia injured Kawhi, and I'll tell you, I've never been so happy in my life.
That was the first Durant season.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really curious. This doc was awesome, and it's gonna be something. I think it's something I rewatch every 6 months.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna give it another round just because it was just so informative, dude. I feel like I didn't know anything about this team.
Yeah.
All I knew was that they were the best and that they had to be the best. And even if the Warriors won 80 games and lost 2, we'll never be as good as the 96 Bulls. Because we didn't, like we couldn't complete the perfect fucking, the perfect story almost. And that's all it is. Like every NBA team, they write their story every year, and it's just like that was the Bulls. Like every year, it's like win the championship in not very dramatic fashion, but they do it in a certain style where they just look like indestructible. They just can't be fucked with sometimes. But yeah, no, I hope this doc does some of those players good. Like a lot of those players don't really know about Jordan and what it took for him to be Jordan. Everybody wants to be like Mike, but can they put in that fucking work? Can they punch their teammates in the fucking face
when they need to?
Yeah, when called upon.
Does anyone need to? Yes.
I mean, Kobe had that same shit. Remember, he was living rent free in Sasha Vujicic's head in practice almost every day, probably, dude. Poor Sasha probably didn't know much English, dude, so he didn't know whether it was a friendly thing or a hostile thing. You can't really tell with Kobe too, because he's Mamba. He's a snake. One of my favorite players now.
Yeah, Kobe.
Immortal, dude.
Yeah, and during I really started to love him during his retirement year.
Yeah, and it sucks. I think it's sad because I think his death kind of brought this out too. This whole documentary. This thing could have waited a while, but I think Kobe's death kind of pushed this out.
Maybe, yeah. I think it was also that, and the Warriors and LeBron being compared to Michael being like, hey.
What do you mean? That's every fucking year. That's every goddamn year.
I know. I think after 2016. I mean, that's what people have been saying, but yeah. I just thought this was a great thing. I mean, going into this, I was kind of done with TV. I mean, I had been binged out, mid-April. So this was it came at the perfect time. I felt like, and
I got a few things I still need to watch, dude. Watchmen for the HBO Watchmen. I heard that was great. Yeah.
What's your favorite besides The Last Dance? What's your favorite thing you've watched?
I watched this recently, but it was really good. It's on Netflix. The Netflix documentary. It's called "Have a Nice Trip."
Okay.
And it's about comedians, musicians, sports stars, whoever, and their time with psychedelic drugs. And
what with psychedelic drugs?
Their times with psychedelic drugs. So you got people just pretty much doing interviews, and then
Woody Harrelson in it
during Willie Nelson. I don't know, probably Woody Harrelson, most likely. He's definitely mentioned in it a few times. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. I think think you'd like it, dude. It's funny because they got an interview with Carrie Fisher too before she died.
R.I.P.
Yeah, but she was a total acid head.
I mean,
So
yeah,
salute.
you like to party. I respect it.
Oh, you're fucking Princess Leia. It's hella funny. She said she had like she was tripping on acid in like Tokyo or someplace somewhere, and she had her shirt off and she was looking at the beach. She was tripping out, right? She turns around and she looks like Leia. She, she's got her buns and everything. And she turns around topless, and there's just a bunch of tourists just looking at her, taking pictures and shit of her. So
Little badass.
yeah, she just didn't even care. And I was like, that's one rad hoe. But yeah, no, you can check that out, dude. But
I'll definitely check that out.
other than that, I've been watching new Rick and Morty, of course.
I haven't watched it all. I'm gonna probably watch it the next couple of days or this weekend.
Get on it, dude. It's good stuff.
Showing Abby a few of those, and she was fucking laughing so hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Teo loves it, dude. I honestly, I feel terrible sometimes when I watch these shows with Teo, but I know like the dirtier jokes go right over his fucking head.
Stuff. We were watching shit.
Yeah, that's right. We were watching South Park and Celebrity Deathmatch when we were younger, dude. So
I think he'll be fine. Rick and Morty, there's some intelligence behind it.
Exactly. That's why I like him watching it. But he does like to watch South Park too. But who doesn't? I'll give him that one. I'll give him that one, dude. I like watching South Park too. It was always a guilty pleasure when I was a kid. It was like something my parents.
Did I haven't watched The Wiggles? You haven't watched Barney? Like, come on.
Nah, dude, I can't do it. Like, if he wants to watch Nickelodeon, I'll just be like, dude, I'm going to my room. Like, I want to watch something different, dude.
Couple dinosaurs.
Oh god, I can't stand it.
But is there anything else you wanted to bring up real quick? Quick side thing. I thought there was some great music in it. Just good music of the period.
Yeah.
Dude, when they dropped the Fatboy Slim, I think in 10. Oh. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. It's those kind of songs that make you think of Jordan.
Yeah.
Especially that one song that he always came out to when they were at home. Gives me chills.
But yeah, dude, this was super fun. I'm glad we finally were able to talk about this. And I don't want to see, I don't want to see the 16 Warriors version of this or the 19 Warriors version of this or the 16 Cavs. Like, I don't want to see this again. I thought this was great.
Yeah.
But what I hope it translates to the present day NBA, taking it in a game at a time a little bit more, respecting the NBA fandom a little bit. So I hope that's the impact that this has, and I think it's possible, but we'll see. We've got a quarantine to get through.
Well put. Well put, brother.
Nice talking to you, dude, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you.
Yeah, give me a call.